Good morning, friends. It is Ashley Fields with Yard Art R Us. I'm trying to learn to say that slowly. And today we're going to be painting our haunted house blank. So, of course, right when I hit the live button, my dog's over here scratching at the door because she doesn't want to walk all the way around my shop. So let's get this, I'm getting this pulled up right now, get it shared everywhere. I need to get that shared. Boop, boop. Gotcha. Alrighty, I think we're good. Turn that volume down. Okay, here we go. Good morning, Debbie. Paula, how are you guys doing? Hi, Cassie. So good to see y'all. Thank y'all for hanging out with me Saturday morning. I've been painting this morning and base coating, so I was trying to get a bunch of stuff out in the sun before I hit the live button. That way when I get done with you guys this morning, I can get back to my painting. Because y'all, I'm so behind, like so behind. It is insane. So what's everybody up to? Hi, Ava. How are you, honey? Ava says hello. Hi, Paula. Paula says, hi, Ashley. Got the haunted house blank yesterday. Yay! Well, that's awesome, Paula, because we are going to have our good full tutorial. Y'all, I'm still drinking my coffee because it's still early in the morning for me. Hi, Kayla. I'm still trying to take in that caffeine so I can wake up. Okay, we are going to hop right in. Y'all, I'm going to be using a rake brush. Let me see, this one, it's a half inch rake brush. I got this guy at Hobby Lobby, and as you can see, here's why it's called a rake. It's got some like kind of cut out parts on the tip of your brush. So we're gonna use a rake brush on your roof kind of parts on your house. And y'all, this house is a design that was done just for us. So those of you that like to cut your own blanks and sell them or paint them for yourself, we do have this template available. So y'all, this is just the same gray right here. All I basically did is take that and I just add a little bit of black to it. And let me actually grab my water. I do want to water this down just a little bit, not a lot. I just don't want it to be really thick and kind of cakey. So get a little bit of water in here. Just a tad, not even as much water as you might add when you're doing shading. Just a little bit. We don't want gummy paint, right? Ava says she's fine now that she gets to see me. Well, you are just so sweet, honey. Debbie says this is so cute. Thank you, y'all. All right, so I call this shading gray, y'all. It's not in our paint palette. It's simply hand mixed by me. So what I'm doing is just getting paint on the tip of that rake brush, okay? And then from there, I kind of just take this lid on my 2-ounce cup and just kind of work it into that brush. And it still doesn't get worked up very high, okay? Just a little bit. Now, on my roof pieces, I kind of just lightly, this is not using any pressure at all. I just lightly kind of sweep that brush across. And I'm just trying, you want to be able to see the strokes, right? Because that's the exact reason why we're using that rake brush. So just kind of getting a little bit of some horizontal strokes on there. I'm gonna come back, load that brush. Again, kind of work it up into those bristles. And again, I'm just going in the direction. So this one's a little bit more, that one's more straight. This one's a little bit more curved. So I'm just kind of following the lines that are already there and just making some curved strokes along those lines. We want it to look natural to this pattern. So if I have straight lines, I obviously do straight strokes. If I have more curved lines, I do more curved strokes. And hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Hi, Lauren. How are you, honey? Hey, Mom. So glad to see y'all. Thank y'all for, like I said, being patient with me this week. I have had a busy week. And so I didn't get to go live earlier in the week. So I kind of have finding myself most of the time doing lives on Fridays and Saturdays, just because that's the only time I just kind of feel like I have a little bit more time. All right, now on these guys, these almost look more like shingles than a roof. So I kind of go almost like horizontal with those shingles. And again, notice y'all, I have not really loaded much paint into here. I'm pretty much only loading about every time that I switch to a new top. I'm not really getting too much on here. Now I will go ahead and load a little bit more, just dip the tip, simply work that in to those bristles. And you can go as light or as heavy on this as you want. And if you wanted to, you could even just use a chip brush. You don't have to have a rake brush to do this guy. The reason I'm using a rake brush as opposed to a chip brush is your chip brushes just seem to make a bit more of a mess. And if I was doing this roof before I had base coated everything, it might be a little easier to just go ahead and throw on or use a chip brush, and you can do it a little bit faster. But since I already have all my colors base coated on here, it just doesn't make sense to make a big mess out of everything. So, all right, we'll move over here to this last one. Again, dip the tip, kind of work it upwards. You can see it's getting a little bit higher up in my brush. Ava says, where did you get this brush? Ava, this is a Moderna. I got it at Hobby Lobby. I think it was an $8 brush, but I happened to find it on a 50% off sale day. And so I want to say I paid $4 for it. And y'all, I've been telling y'all too, I know I had some Crafter's Choice brush set that I've been telling y'all I found at Hobby Lobby, which I did. But I have y'all know, I was actually at Walmart last week, Walmart in Pearland on Dixie Farm Road, I want to say. And that same exact brush set that I found, that was the Crafter's Choice, I think it's like a 12 or a 15 piece brush set. Walmart had it for $8. So they don't have a lot of like good high quality brushes, but those Crafter's Choice, they're pretty good for this, the price on them. You know, they work pretty well. So if you're looking for, you know, a good brush set, there is a Crafter's Choice at Walmart for $8, which is like cheaper than what I got it at Hobby Lobby. So, you know, you never know. All right, I'm gonna put the cap on here. I've got that gray rake brush done on all of my rooftops. Now I'm gonna just simply wash my rake brush out, and we're gonna switch to white and do white over top. You guys know, anytime I'm doing really anything, I'm always gonna have like a shading color, and then I'm always gonna have a highlight color. So a lot of times that highlight is just done with a script liner at the very end, but when you're doing a kind of dry brushing look or a rake look, I do like to have two different colors on top of my base. So we did that darker gray, and then now we're gonna go ahead and come in with some white. And y'all, I feel like I need a coffee IV this morning, because I am not moving very fast. I usually get up around 5:30, but this morning I turned off all my alarms. I said I'm sleeping in as late as possible. So I slept until like 7, because that's late for me. All right, I dipped the tip in here. I'm simply using this lid, just kind of go back and forth. You don't want a whole lot of paint on there, okay? And this might even be too much, because I know this white is already watered down. And y'all, this is one of those things, you can spend a lot of time doing this and really kind of getting into it, or you could just spend a little bit of time. The way I look at it is I am going to come back in here and obviously outline in black. And then I want to say, let me look at my sample. Yeah, on my sample too, I even came in with white highlights. So I'm kind of, I don't mind having, you know, it doesn't have to look perfect to me. I'm still going to bring quite a bit into here. But I just like when you kind of have a trio of colors. I just personally feel that it looks so much better. Let me dip my paintbrush back in, get a little bit more paint. And again, y'all, this is like hardly any pressure. In fact, it's not even pressure at all. It's just simply kind of grazing that paintbrush across the top, just very lightly sweeping it. And again, I'm just following the same direction that I already did with that darker gray shade. And this is really, you can start to see these rooftops, you know, once you get that white on there, or you get a two tones on there on top of your base color. I don't know about y'all, but I just feel like it really starts to bring it to life. show you guys that up close. So there's kind of, that's that rake brush look. Again, you have gray as that base. I took gray and mixed a little bit of black to make a darker gray, almost a charcoal gray, and just use that rake brush. And so we did that darker charcoal gray, and then we just came right back over top with the white on the same exact brush. All right, so rake brush is done. I am going to cap this white. We will obviously be coming back to the white later. Now I'm gonna switch and we're gonna start shading our piece. So I've got, I just washed this morning. This is a number 12 Royal flat tip brush, but I always refer to it as a shader. Good morning, Gail, Sally, Laura, Karen. So glad you're here. What's everybody doing this beautiful Saturday? I have been painting. I was actually base coating some Boo pumpkins this morning. It's like a pumpkin with a bat on it, and it says Boo. And I had only painted one, and that one sold before I even got it at the store. I had like posted it on the website before I took it to the store, and it was already sold before it even got there. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I need to go paint the rest of them, because sometimes when I'm painting something brand new, instead of painting 10 at a time, I actually get started with just one so that I can kind of figure out how I want to paint it, because y'all, I am somebody that is, I change my mind 1,000 times. So when it's a new pattern, if I try to attempt to paint all the ones I'm going to paint and I don't like it, then guess what? I have to repaint all of them. So I was like, not today, you know. I just painted one, so this morning I got to go and get all the rest of them done. All right, guys, that was just a little bit of shading yellow on the moon. I'm gonna clean this brush out. We're just gonna keep using the same exact brush, just for the sake of washing brushes. Who wants to wash like 20,000 brushes? I don't know about y'all, but I don't. So, all right, let me get a napkin over here so I can get that excess water out of my brush. Because when I am shading, I do like my paint watered down, but I don't like that water sitting in my brush. All right. So we basically are going to be shading our orange, our green, and our purple. So from here, it really doesn't matter which one I go to next. In fact, I might just do that orange just because there's not a whole lot of it. So on this orange on your shutters, this is actually asterisk orange. And then the orange right here on the pumpkin is, what do we call it? I think we just call it light orange. So we do have two different oranges, but I'm gonna still pair it with that same shading color. So shading orange works great on both of these. So I'm simply gonna just load that corner of my brush and just follow the perimeter on your shutter. Your shutter does not have a ton of space. And I'm gonna come in here with a lot of black. So you really can't honestly see that you even have the shading on there by the time you're done with this, but that's okay. Hey Candace, Candace says you all do amazing work. Well, you are just so sweet, honey. Thank you. On my pumpkin, y'all, I'm just gonna come over here and just kind of follow it around. Now, I did just very loosely, you could just leave it like that, but I did kind of loosely just bring a couple of swipes downward. Honestly, it has a jack-o'-lantern face on it, so you can't see a whole lot of it, but you know, little details here and there is what really will bring this guy to life out by the time you get done. All right, shading orange is finished. I'm gonna put that color up, get that brush washed out. Y'all, can I just tell y'all, I know I told you guys, it was a couple months ago, we ordered a Sleep Number bed, and we just got it in this week. And I have to say, I have not been impressed because it feels like an air mattress. Not been impressed. Like I am uncomfortable when I'm going to sleep. Yet when I go to sleep, I have like amazing sleep. It's the craziest thing. So I've had some kind of grumpy days this week because I've not been that impressed with my bed. But everybody keeps saying, give it time, give it time. So I'm trying to work on being patient with this new bed. Hi Maria, hi Amanda. Candace says I started painting door hangers about 2 years ago and it's so relaxing and works all my stress out. Yes, girl, yes, I totally hear you on that one. I know exactly what you're talking about. And y'all, I've been painting, I've been painting, I'd say over 15 years, very seriously the last 6. But anytime like I'm upset happy, upset, sad, mad. It kind of almost doesn't matter. I'm just having a lot of feelings going on. For me, the best thing to do is to head outside and go paint. Whoopsie. I got some orange I think I picked up in that brush. I pulled it over. That's okay. Good thing I got a finger right here that can wipe it off. And so sometimes even my husband, he'll be like, I think you need to go paint. I'm like, yeah, I think you're right. Because it is so relaxing and it relieves stress for me. And, you know, any time in my life where I'm like, man, I don't want to deal with life today. Best thing for me is just to go paint because I can almost just check out. And because I've been doing it so long, for me, it's like a kind of mindless activity. I don't really have to think about it very hard unless I'm doing something new and I'm just kind of thinking on colors. I don't have to think very hard. I can just throw the brush down and move, you know? It's lovely. I absolutely love it. And I often say I do have the best job in the world. I get to be creative for a living, and that's a beautiful thing. Yes, and she says, a lot of people that I watch paint makes me relaxed and stress-free. Yes, girl. I love, honestly, I absolutely love getting to watch other people paint, or even like videos of people doing tie-dye or candle making or almost anything. I'm like, man, that is so relaxing. Alrighty, I'm kind of just coming in with that shading purple. Hi, Angie, how are you, babe? And at this point, I'm really just kind of following along any of those spots where I have those lines for that purple. And good thing I have a sample over here so I can actually look at where I put all these lines, because y'all, sometimes I just forget. Now over here, I have like a little cobweb. I just kind of am gonna do one stroke upward because you're gonna come in there with a web. So it's gonna look a little crazy if you try to follow every single line. There's a lot of lines there. Okay. Now from here, I will do just a couple of like very light, kind of swish mark strokes. Notice when I'm doing this, I didn't go back and add more paint. I'm simply using that paint that I already have. Did forget this little guy, and then just kind of boop, couple strokes. Accidentally came over on that lime green, that's okay. That's okay. Maybe like so, like so. I think we're good. I'll leave it. So we got that shading purple done. Hey, Jason. Jason says, best job because you enjoy it so much and you're pretty darn good. You are just so sweet. That is exactly why. Y'all, so this, and honestly, working for yourself as a creator, it can be overwhelming at times. It can be really overwhelming. Like you feel a lot of pressure from just everything, and pressure to, you know, pay the bills and perform and all of that. But I have to always remind myself that I don't have to go work for somebody else. You know, like if the school calls and my daughter's sick and she needs to get picked up, I can be there in 10 minutes, lickety split, no problem. My husband calls, hey, I left my debit card in my pants at home. Can you bring me my debit card? Yes, I can. You know, so I have such a luxury that I know a lot of people don't have. And so when I'm stressed out, I have to go and remind myself of all of that. I'm very blessed. All right, we got this lime green. I'm pairing that with your dark green. We'll get a little spoon and get it mixed. Just a little bit. All righty. Now I'm still sticking with that same number 12. You really could go down to even like a number 10, and I'm just loading that corner, guys. I'm not putting a whole lot of paint on that brush. The paint will inevitably come across that brush the more that I use it, but I don't start like that. Now your little spots here, these little window seals, if you will, you don't have a lot of space. So if you tried to completely shade in that rectangle, it would end up being a very dark green blob. And who wants a dark green blob? I don't know about y'all, but I don't. So I kind of keep that real light and fluffy and just a little swish mark. Now come down here, I'm trying to make sure I got that camera angle where you guys can still see. Down here I will do a perimeter shade. Go all the way across. And then again, swish mark. Now up here on the inside of my roof, See, that paint's kind of getting all the way across there, which is making my strokes look a little bit thicker. And then from here, I do have these kind of lines coming across. So notice I just kind of turn that brush sideways. Bum-ba-dum. And now up here, again, real thin lines, so just a swish. All right, I've got green shaded, purple shaded, orange, yellow. Boop-ba-doo. I think we're good. We're good. The only reason I'm not gonna shade on like your roof shingles is we don't want to take away from the kind of rake brush or the dry brush kind of look there. So we're not gonna add more shading. That will start really coming together when we go and start outlining. So let me hit this with a blow dryer right quick. And then we've got a lot of outlining to do on this guy. Enough that these colors are not going to get picked up as I am coming through with my black. Hi Sally, hi Cheryl, how are you folks doing? Okay, I think that's good enough. If not, we can always grab the blow dryer again. All right, I can't even lie to y'all, this has a lot of outline on it, so this might take us a little bit. I'm getting that Royal Gold number 4 script liner. Let me actually refill this. I don't have much black in here, and honestly, I need a lot. So I only fill that cup about halfway, maybe 2/3, because I do like to add a lot of water. And I don't want to get it so full that when I'm mixing it, I make a ginormous mess everywhere, because y'all, that's never fun. And y'all have seen me do it in lives too many times where I spill paint. Candace says, my kids think I'm nuts that I use my blow dryer to dry my paintings. Y'all, this blow dryer, I got it for my daughter for Christmas, maybe 2 years ago. And then last week, she got her hair cut kind of short, and I was like, well, you need to blow dry it, you know, in the morning. And she's like, Mom, you stole my blow dryer. Can I have that back? And I was like, no, I need that for my lives. And so I happened to go to HEB last week, and they had some like Revlon blow dryers that were 25% off. So I got her a blow dryer for like, I don't know, 15 bucks or something. So I came home from the grocery store. I was like, here you go. Here's the new blow dryer because Mommy stole yours. I love it. All right, I'm just getting this paint mixed up. And y'all, everybody's different. But I like when I'm outlining, especially this black, I just like it dripping. That's personal preference. Not everybody's gonna like it like that. That's just me. So I like to try to show you guys, that way y'all have an idea of what it is that I'm working with. Now I'm gonna try to start here towards like the center. And at this point, I'm just gonna follow these lines. Might have to slow down a little bit because for me, this is a little bit of a reach. But for the sake of a live, I try to leave it to where you guys can see as good as possible. Now from here, I do have, you kind of have your shutters. I don't know what these part of the shutters is called, but you probably can't really see it. I could see the etched lines, but you know, obviously when I base coat, I paint right over top this whole thing. Because I know I'll just come back over top of it with some black and fill it in at that moment. This is not something I try to fill in before outlining because it's just such a small spot that it's, to me, it's a little faster to just be able to do it when I'm outlining. There's 4 of them. So I kind of just almost fill in those lines first, and then just come back in and go in the middle. Get you a little bit more paint. Come over here. And y'all, this is a very, very light touch. I do not use a ton of pressure. In fact, it's like if I'm running out of paint, that's when I'm using more pressure on my brush. And I did accidentally bring that line a little far. There we go. Alrighty. We're just gonna follow the lines. Everywhere where there's a line, that's where I'm gonna outline. Now your ghosts that you have here in this window, honestly, they're just very, very small. And I have a heavy hand, but if you're somebody who can shade, you know, small spaces a little bit easier than I can, then hey, you can throw some like light gray shading in there or just regular gray. But me, it just kind of becomes a big old mess. So I just left them. So notice as I'm kind of coming in and I'm outlining, that's when I'm touching up all of this almost leftover spots that I didn't touch with that mop brush. Going in the mail. Whoa! I leaned my hand over there. That's okay. Make sure I don't have any wet paint on my hand. Get your little eyeballs. That eyeball went a little crazy. So you got, do y'all see what I'm talking about when I said that this pattern has a lot of outline? I know I haven't been outlining that long, but I definitely haven't gotten very far in the little bit of time I have been outlining. It's got a lot. But I think that's what makes it look so good. Come follow this around. Same thing on like I did on the other shutter. That line was a little crooked. And then come back in and just fill in my little rectangles. Now the only reason I'm really starting in the middle is because for me, if I start on the side and I work my way to the middle, I will put my arm or my hand in wet paint and it will smear everywhere. So I like to start in the center and work my way outward from there. That one was not very straight. That's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. Straighten that bottom line out. Here we go. I'm gonna come over top of those swish marks with a very light touch. I'm gonna meet those lines in the center. And from here, on these kind of almost like shingle-like parts, I don't really know what to call them. I pretend that there's a line right here. I kind of just use my paintbrush to draw that line. There's not a line etched right there. I just personally like how it looks if I pull that line all the way in. This guy does have one more that kind of comes down into your other roof line. We'll just make sure to hold on. There we go. And just continue that same exact thing on this side. I apologize if there is any comments coming in. Because when I am outlining, I really need to pay attention if it's going to look good. Kind of in that pay attention mode. Alrighty, come up here on my chimney. And I've also got some lines that are probably kind of hard to see from that angle. It's making it look like brick. Okay, we're gonna keep moving. Let me see. I got some questions. Candace says, do you guys ever use paint pens or small areas like the ghost eyes? No, ma'am, I never use paint pens. If you couldn't tell, this is my trusty, rusty old script liner. In fact, I have like 5 or 6 of these that all are bent because I use the crud out of them. The reason we don't use paint pens is number 1, the cost. And number 2, I've heard of a million people saying that if they go to poly after using the paint pens, that it smears everywhere. I've never in my life had that problem because I've always just stuck with exterior paint and a paintbrush. And also, Candace, this is just how I learned to paint. I never learned to paint with paint pens, so I'm comfortable with the brush. Debbie says, I better get started now because it will take me weeks to do the fine details. I love that. Candace, or somebody had asked, what painting pens do you recommend? My hand shakes so much when I use brush to paint eyes. Yeah, I think that the best thing to do if, I can't tell who, so Paul asked that, and Candace replied to her. So she says, I use paint pens from Michael's store in all different sizes, and they have lots of colors. There you go. Thank you for that advice, because I can't say that I have any advice when it comes to paint pens. I just simply have never used them. So, I can just, I know I've told you guys several times, but when it comes to the detail work in a script liner, it gets easier the more you do it. And so, it's just kind of one of those things that you've got to play with it. You've got to practice. You need those 3 P's, practice, patience, and perseverance. Because sometimes, you know, you might want to just throw that brush in the trash can and walk away and go, I don't think so. Because from my experience, I've tried to do that a few times. But like I said, the more I stuck with it and the more I worked with it, the easier it got. It just kind of takes a little bit of time. Hi, Erin. Erin said, you say you use exterior paint. Yes, Erin, we use exterior house paint. Just like if you were to go to Lowe's or Home Depot and you say, hey, I need to get some paint to paint the outside of my house, that's the kind of paint we use. And we also use all semi-gloss sheen. We don't use any other sheen. So I've seen some people that say that they've had issues with like flat paint. Even though it's exterior, they used flat paint and then it you know, had some bleeding occurring and different things like that. So we do use semi-gloss. And the reason that we use the exterior house paint is because we paint yard art. So this is meant to go outdoors and last for years to come. And so the best paint to use on yard art is always going to be exterior paint. I'm gonna just keep on moving all the way down, and then I will have to turn this guy upside down on y'all so that I can outline the other side. Because this is kind of, there ain't no way my hand can reach over there and make pretty lines. It's just not possible. So I'm just gonna kind of finish out this side. That one got a little out of line there. Whenever my hand doesn't quite stay straight and I'm like, oh Lord, that's kind of funky, I just simply take my finger and pick it right back up and redo it. I don't let it stop me. Hey Jane, how are you, babe? Hey Kim. Hi Susie. lots of outline, y'all. I don't know how long I've been outlining, but it feels like it's been forever. So all those little spots that you guys saw where that base coating on that black, you know, it kind of looks funky. You see all these white parts poking through. That's kind of what I come in and just make sure I do with my script liner. Same thing. Come in right here. Same thing right here. Now in the center of these eyes, I do have some little teeny tiny circles. Y'all know me, I stink at circles. So I do go a little slower. And just kind of turn that brush. It's not the best, but it'll do. I almost think I should have deleted these circles and then just used like the edge of the brush, the end of the brush to do it. Okay. Forgive me, but I do have to turn it. When you are outlining, especially if you're somebody who is not as experienced in outlining, or maybe it's intimidating, my advice is you turn that piece and make it as comfortable for yourself as possible. Get as close as you can to where you're painting so that your arm's not having to be, you know, hyperextended. Now from here, I do have these little kind of curved. Same thing right here. Come in like so, tie up that line. Right over top of those kind of shading lines. Hey Susie, Susie says, so cute. Thank you, my dear. You are so sweet. Hi Stephanie, how are you? Now y'all, on my pumpkin, typically y'all know me on pumpkins, I don't outline in black, but this is more like a scary jack-o'-lantern. This is a haunted house, so I am gonna outline this pumpkin in black. I don't want it to look too cute. I want it to look more, you know, like it fits in with the haunted house. So let me just kind of get that outline perimeter in black. Now this stem of the pumpkin, not the stump, because yesterday in my other video I kept wanting to say stump. That stem is so tiny, y'all. It's like smaller than the tip of my pinky. So that's why I don't have any shading on there, but you could just take just a tiny little bit of shading brown and just do one quick stroke upward to add a little shading color to that stem if you want to. Just using that black to fill in all those other spots. Now, he does have a jack-o'-lantern face on here. Again, I know I'm turning this all crazy. Please forgive me. I have to do that so that I can kind of come in here and make these lines. Notice I kind of almost do the perimeter of the line first. And that's just kind of, I know I've referred to coloring in a coloring book when I was a kid. I used to take the markers and outline, and then I take the crayons and fill it in. That's kind of what I'm doing. Whenever I'm doing small spaces like this, I like to kind of give myself that boundary. And y'all, when I'm coming and I'm dipping this brush back in the paint, I'm hardly getting any paint. You want to keep that paint very, very Not very much on your brush, just a little bit. Because if you come in with a big glob of paint, it's going to end up being a big glob. Just following these lines, creating that perimeter. Here we go. Now take that black and simply fill in the centers. Ta-da! Just a couple swoosh marks. All right, now back to outlining. Even though that is outlining, you know, I'm gonna really slow down for a second to make sure that I'm paying attention. Now I can kind of pick up that pace just a little bit. Let's do our roof line right here. And I've got some lines that come across. Another line right here. And from there, go down. I love watching this guy start to come together. He's gonna be so cute. All right. Again, forgive me. We're gonna have to be upside down so that I can reach. We're almost done. We're getting there. Slowly but surely. Let me kind of do that perimeter of my window, give myself that boundary. Oh, Tootsie, you're there must be, I don't know, a tree blowing in the breeze or something, because that's about all that ever takes place out here when my dogs are losing their mind. There we go. Follow my little ghost. Kind of create my ghost, because I'm sure y'all can't really see it very well. Now from here, kind of come in my center, and my mouth. Little swish lines. All right, all we got left is just this roof line right here, and then we have our black bat that is in the center of our moon. And then all we need to do is add some highlights, and this guy will be done. Again, all the little strokes that you're seeing me do right now, this is all etched. You've already got the lines etched onto this blank. So I'm not having to guesstimate where anything is. It's all right there in front of me. Whew, almost there, y'all, almost there. I know my bat's upside down. Give me 1 second and I'll turn it back the right side for y'all. This bat is so thin that it's not that big of a deal for me to just fill in the entire thing while I'm outlining. So that's why I didn't have any base coat on this guy. Bring that top down. Make sure I don't have any wet paint on my arm. And following those lines. turn it around and let's make sure I actually have all my black done. Let's get a good look at it. Okay. Boop, boop, boop. I think we've got all of our black on here. Looks good to me. So let's clean out that brush and get some white. I might have to, I don't know that I can even get this dry enough. I do want white highlights on my bat, but y'all, it's really, really, really wet. And especially when I have that much paint on there, I don't want to get too close with my blow dryer because it'll push that paint all over. Honestly, that's probably one of those things I won't get the highlight on there during this video. Let me see if I can get some of this dry to try to get as much highlights as I can. Make do. Oh, Erin says it's her first time watching. Thank you, Erin. We're so glad that you're here. Candace says it looks good without adding the white highlights. Girl, you wait until we add the white highlights, and then you're gonna be like, oh yeah, it looks even better. Y'all, I have a rule. Nothing is ever finished until it has white highlights. It just has to have white highlights. All right, got that white. I might need to add more water. Let's see if I can make it work. So basically, anytime I'm doing highlights, I'm still using that Royal Gold Script Liner number 4. I basically dip and then offload. I do not want very much paint on this brush, so I offload to keep it light and wispy. Let me move my hair because I do a really good job of getting my hair in the paint all the time. In fact, I have orange on one ponytail and purple on the other ponytail from earlier. It's like, oopsie. So on the rooftops, I'm just very lightly taking that white and just bringing it in. It's subtle, it's not a lot, but you'll see once we get this guy all done with the highlights, this is one of those things that really just kind of helps to bring it to life. Let me look at my sample. So my sample, I did one straight line right here on both sides. And then, let's see, how did I do that? I went down like this. Let me offload. This is a little harder because my, got a lot of wet paint. I can't rest my elbow like I need to kind of rest my elbow. I'm also getting black paint in that white. Did that, kind of do it like that over here. Load, offload. Kind of like so. And just kind of come in here. Boop, boop, boop. Now on my shingles, I did almost like an L. A little L. Now I can't forget this little guy over here. Now on my moon, I do kind of just come right on the inside of that shading. Come in here. Y'all, highlights are one of those things, you just kind of stick them wherever your heart is desiring. I try to get them all over the place. On every color is really what I try to go for. In every little spot. As much as I possibly can. Come over here. Notice where those other swish marks are. I'm kind of coming around them, maybe above, below, beside them, something like that. Doesn't have to be perfect. Now these eyeballs, I'm gonna just kind of come in the center. Just simply dab that brush downward. come across this roof line. Come across down here. Same thing. Oh, that roof line already has some. Okay, I think I'm done. Y'all, the only other thing I need to do is my bat. However, it is way too wet. I cannot do the highlights on my bat right now, but let me show you guys my sample. This will be the only thing that's missing from this one that I just painted in front of you. Only other thing that's missing is going to be the white around that bat. So this is just done with a script liner, very light, very wispy. Wow! Okay, at least I didn't get it on my piece. Very light, very wispy, but it does need, it needs some highlights. It simply needs some highlights. Let's see, Lou says, you did an awesome job on this. It's beautiful. Thank you, Lou. You are so sweet. Candace says, okay, the white does bring it out a lot better. See? Girl, you have to have white highlights. I don't care what you're painting. Indoor, outdoor, it don't matter. It has to have white highlights. That's just a rule. Debbie says, highlights sure make it come to life. I have to agree, y'all. The highlights is seriously where it's at, and it's one of those things that out of everything that you do in the entire process, highlights are the fastest. It might just take you a couple minutes, you know, but it really is what makes it pop, makes it come to life, and it kind of just gives you that, almost that step above other people that might paint that don't have highlights on there. You gotta have highlights, you just have to. It's a rule. Ashley says so. Jeanette says, love this. Thank you, my dear. Y'all are just so sweet. Kirkendall says, wow, this is so beautiful. It just got better and better. Y'all sell this in a blank. Yes, we have this in a blank, my dear. I did post a link in the description of this video. We have a blank. And then we also do have a template available if you're somebody who likes to cut your own yard art or door hanger pieces. So that is it for today. Let me go over my colors with you guys. I did 2 full coats of white as a primer underneath with a roller. The reason I did 2 coats of white is, number one, if you want yellow to shine through, you've got to have a good thick coat of white underneath it. So that is so that my yellow looks really good, and my 2 little ghosts needed that white underneath it. And so to me, it's easier to use a roller, slap that paint on there, and then come over top with my mop brushes and get colors. So 2 coats of white primer and prime those on, which, by the way, all of our paint is paint and primer in one. Every single color we use is all paint and primer in one. So when I'm saying white primer, it's really just our white paint, but I'm using it as a primer coat. So from there I have light yellow on the moon. Your rooftops are done in gray. Your shutters are asterisk orange. Your pumpkin is light orange. Then your green that you guys are seeing is lime green, and then the purple is light purple. From there, I shaded my yellow with shading yellow. I shaded my lime green with dark green. I shaded both orange tones with shading orange. And I shaded light purple with dark purple. On my roof caps, all of that is gray mixed with a little bit of black, done with the rake brush, and then also white done with the rake brush. So I kind of did that in place of shading. Now down here, your eyeballs, this set of eyeballs is red, and this set of eyeballs is teal. From there, we just did black outline on everything except the moon. Leave the moon, it doesn't need the black outline. You want it to pop, that yellow to stand out and pop, so no black outline. And just added some white highlights. Bada bing, bada boom. There we go. Jane says, can't wait to get started on mine. Yes, make sure you post pictures. I'd love to see. Now, next week, I think we're going to try to go ahead and get the train done. We got a 3-piece train. I know we've sold several. We're sold out right now. I do have more here at my house that are cut. I'll try to get those to the store probably on Monday. So if you're waiting on anything that is sold out, be patient. I'll get them there. I promise you. So shooting for the train tutorial next week. So hopefully you guys can join me on that one. And until then, y'all enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.